was once this great debate amongst prominent rabbis in the times of the Mishnah. What is the most important or prominent pasuk in the Torah, verse in the Torah? And one rabbi gets up and he says, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord, our God, the Lord is one. And another rabbi gets up and he says, no, that's not the most important verse in the Torah. The most important verse in the Torah is, you shall love your neighbor like yourself. V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. And then there's a third rabbi that got up and said, the most important verse in the Torah is none other found in our parsha this week, Tetzaveh. And that is in reference to the sacrifice that was brought every single day, once in the morning and once in the evening, known as the Tamid, the Korban Tamid. And it says about the Tamid in the Torah, Es ha-keves echa ta'aseh baboker, you shall bring the keves, the sacrifice, once in the morning, Ves ha-keves hasheni ta'aseh bein harabayim, and you shall bring once in the evening. And that is the most important verse in the Torah. And that kind of leaves us a little bit bewildered, because Shema Yisrael is very important, we know. It's an affirmation of our faith. You shall love your neighbor like yourself is very important, because that's a fundamental cornerstone in Judaism. However, this verse of bringing the sacrifice once in the morning and once in the evening, why in the world would this be the most important verse in the Torah? You know, I have to say, as a baseball fan, I am intrigued by many different records that were made over the years in baseball. The most home runs hit in a season, the most RBIs. But what is the greatest baseball record out there? Most people, or many people, say that the greatest record in baseball is the one that Cal Ripken has, the most consecutive games played on the field. 2,600 something games, he showed up every single day to play. Day in and day out. Did not take a day off. That is the most important record in baseball. In fact, the day that he made that record, that fateful game, the President of the United States, Supreme Court justices, and other famous dignitaries came to watch Ripken play that game. Why was that the most important record in baseball? And the answer is, because many people come and hit home runs. And then, many times the next day, they strike out. And then they'll come and hit a home run and strike out the next day. But to show up every single day, to come to the game no matter what, if you're feeling well, if you're not, if you're going to hit a home run, if you'll strike out, if you just to show up. Now that's perseverance, that's dedication, and that's why that's perhaps the greatest record in baseball, which brings us back to the verse in this week's parsha about the Tamid sacrifice. The Tamid sacrifice, what was so special about that it was brought every single day, twice a day in fact. Once in the morning, once in the evening. It didn't matter if there was a recession or there was prosperity, if it was winter or if it was summer, if the Kohen Gadol was in a good mood or if he was not in a good mood. Every single day, the Tamid sacrifice was brought. In fact, the first time that this Tamid sacrifice was not brought, it was considered a catastrophic day. In fact, we fast on the 17th of Tammuz for that. Let us remember that lesson. It is not so important always to hit home runs. It is important just to show up, to be consistent in our commitment, whatever that commitment is. Let us emulate the lesson of the Tamid and just show up in our commitment on a consistent basis. Folks, I think that's a wonderful lesson for us to emulate. Have a wonderful Shabbos.